A school superintendent says that students are harming themselves, and they're citing the Netflix series 13 Reasons Why as the reason. This is from the Washington Post, and according to Superintendent Robert M. Ovasa, he's the superintendent of Palm Beach County Schools. He sent out a letter to parents saying, quote, as a father of a teenager and tween, I'm very concerned about a dangerous trend we have observed in our schools in recent days. School district personnel have observed an increase in youth at-risk behavior at the elementary and middle school levels to include self-mutilation, threats of suicide, and multiple Baker Act incidents. Students involved in the recent incidents have articulated associations of their at-risk behavior to 13 Reasons Why Netflix series. Now, if you have not seen the series, I've seen it. Have you guys seen the whole series?
Nope.
Okay, I've seen the series. We'll talk about it, but let me just describe it to you. The Netflix website, the way that they summarize the series theme, it says here, quote, after a teenage girl's perplexing suicide, a classmate receives a series of tapes that unravel the mystery of her tragic choice. Now, you get one side criticizing the show, right? Saying that it glamorizes and romanticizes suicide. You get another side saying that they're bringing up the conversation. Not only are they bringing up the conversation of suicide, but they're also bringing up the conversation of rape, what constitutes consent, also bullying and slut shaming. And there's a lot of different themes that are tackled in this long series, especially even how much communication really occurs between parents and their children, between schools and their students. So the Netflix series has defended the show. And then also Selena Gomez, who's one of the producers, she defended it as well. And she told the Associated Press that she was expecting backlash. She says it's gonna come no matter what. It's not an easy subject to talk about, but I'm very fortunate with how it's doing. All right, I have more things to read, but so you've seen it. What were your initial thoughts when you watched the series, or even during the series when you saw these really graphic moments and tough subject matter to talk about?
Well, you know, it evolved because when the series first came out, the people were attaching themselves to the cleverness of it, like the tapes and how, you know, the whole story. It was, you know, it was very interesting. And as I watched, for me, I guess I wasn't as moved by it in the sense that it was shocking for me, but Selena Gomez has a very good point. People are going to talk about this, especially parents, and parents don't like. I mean, I have a teenage daughter, and I have seen her go through, you know, a lot of problems and things that most teenage kids deal with at that age. And parents don't like when you shine a light on their parenting. Parents do not like when you take a mirror and show them how their parenting is lack of, or if they're being a good parent. So watching it, I think it's necessary for this generation to see something like this, absolutely. Because growing up for us, Sam and Brett, our evils were safe sex, have safe sex, don't do drugs, stay out of gangs, go to college. That's what the thing. Those
or don't even have sex.
Right,
I remember
or practice
sex ed,
abstinence.
yeah,
Absolutely, absolutely.
Which was ridiculous.
So
I just ended up practicing abstinence. Well, I didn't set out to, but it ended up being the way it happened.
Right, because you know you just couldn't get laid in high school. It's a tragic thing for many people. And so I think that 13 Reasons Why people need to see this, because also for youth, and over the last 15 years, the suicide attempts on minority young youth, especially females, have more than gone up 25% since 1999. So we need to have these conversations. People just don't want to have those tough conversations because it's awkward or it makes you uncomfortable, but those uncomfortable conversations save lives. And yeah, some people were saying that this show glamorizes suicide. I don't think that. You know, I didn't want to watch Hunger Games because I thought I don't want to see kids killing kids. You know, that was a big issue for me. So, but a lot. And
that was based on a book. This is based on a book. This is based on a book. You should know that.
So, okay, the end point in your discussion, Selena and the people bringing it up, is not 13 Reasons Why glamorizes suicide, so it's bad. That's not the end. Selena's point is that this brings up a lot of issues in the conversation of teen suicide. All the reservations of the people who say it glamorizes suicide, those are points in that larger conversation. So, I mean, my girlfriend watched it and said, she came up with things she thought might be the kinds of points that might be made watching it, thinking it glamorizes suicide. Things like, you know, it feels like you have some kind of satisfying revenge after you commit suicide. So let's have a discussion about that. Let's say that, okay, that shouldn't be a motivation for suicide. If you're part of your suicide, you know, if you're contemplating suicide and part of your thought process is that'll show them, like, don't do that. That's not a valid, I mean, your feelings are all valid, but like, just think it through. It won't solve anything for you. And then also just the idea, I mean, various other ideas in addition to like the overall tone of it being melodramatic. Well, maybe that can be excused by the fact that it's for teenagers, and when you're a teen, everything seems pretty melodramatic.
What the producers had said, and the statement was rather long, but they had said that they made sure that the rating was mature audience, MA. They had an after show to talk about mental health issues, because even though suicide was underscored within the series, there wasn't too much talk about mental illness, but they did have like follow-up episodes. They did have trigger warnings, because that was the point. If you are a vulnerable youth, you could interpret some of those scenes as romanticizing and glamorizing. This is according to psychologists. I'm going to read their statement.
But like the idea,
hold on, because let me just get this part out, because it's very important. And psychologists they just want there to be almost a parental guidance or a school guidance when watching this, because they do think it can be beneficial. But they also want to point out that it is going to be triggering to some youth. And I think that is important to talk about. I thought, just to throw in my thoughts really quickly before I read another statement, I agreed. When I saw it with my husband, we both were like, oh, I wish I would have seen this when I was in school. Now, I get it. It's not perfect. I wish they would have done more with mental illness, but they do have a website that they built where it drives people that are struggling with mental health issues or maybe contemplating suicide to hopefully get help. So they did push that agenda. But I did think the way that they talked about even just like drinking and how does that, legally, you can't have sex with a guy or girl that's drunk and constitute that as consent, or even just, the drinking and driving aspect, the slut shaming, the bullying, how that can lead to somebody who's already depressed to contemplate or carry out a suicide. So I thought that it was very important material. I thought it did strike a conversation, but I agree with the National Association of School Psychologists, who did issue a cautionary statement expressing concern of copycat behavior. Now, they did also say that this is great that there's a conversation, but they want schools, school psychologists, and parents to help their children understand all of the subject matter. So in it, not only have they asked for in fact, I hope we can somehow, I don't know how we can include this incredible letter that the National Association of School Psychologists sent out, but it's a guidance for educators. It's a guidance for the parents. It's resources like and different websites like the American Association of Suicidology, Suicide Awareness Voices of Education, and it has really great material on here in how to deal with it at home too, because parents in the show, it shows that, and some parents may be very involved in their children's lives, but sometimes the parents don't know what the fuck's going on in their kid's life at school. And so it tries to help bridge that gap. Like you gotta know what's going on, because your kid may come home and feel like everything's fine, but in reality, your kids may be being bullied, your kids may be being a subject of harassment, or maybe was raped at a party, date rape, you don't know. And then I think that was important. But another important part that the National Association of School Psychologists says is the one part they did not like in the series. Hopefully this isn't a spoiler alert. This is a spoiler alert. So if you want to continue watching the series, don't listen. But there's a part in the series where Hannah, the main character, goes to consult and vent to the school psychologist, and she pretty much got shut down. And that's what. It's not what led to her suicide, but it was like kind of like the last thing that may have been able to stop her from committing suicide. So they did not want that to influence other students to think, if I go to a parent, will they not be able to help me? If I go to a school psychologist, will they not be able to help me? That kind of sucks. But again, it's based on the book.
Right.
But perhaps that happens, so it just goes to show that you do want, please,
don't watch the show, it seems, as a way to justify doing this.
Thank you, yeah.
That's it.
Or if you've gone through sexual assault or rape, or if you're contemplating suicide, this could be a trigger. If anything, please seek help, talk to someone. You're not alone. You are not alone.
I 100% echo that, Sam, and I do think that there are teens who have reached out to officials and adults and role models within their community for help and have been shut down. I think this is not the first time programming of this nature has been on TV. It's not. For years, there have been after-school specials. There have been other shows on network television that didn't delve as far into the subject matter and use this type of device to tell the story. But people may not agree with me, but I think it comes back to the parents in regards to this. You talk about vulnerable children, parents. And I don't have my own biological children, but again, I have a stepdaughter who is a teenager, and I can tell you that the best way to handle if you are offended by this content or you feel that this is sending a wrong message to teens is to talk to them about it. That's all you can do. Same thing with sex. This is so dumb, but I remember back in the 90s, Bart Simpson, Bartman. When I was in elementary school, you couldn't wear anything Bart Simpson for a long time because Bart was seen as a negative role model for youth. It was really weird.
Banning it isn't gonna help. You gotta talk it through.
It's not. And again, I think a lot of parents are not liking this because it's making them look at themselves as parents and how they could possibly be failing as a parent.
And really quick, I'm gonna end with a couple of numbers for anyone that is struggling with depression or contemplating suicide. Suicide is never the solution. It's never, never, never the solution. You're not alone. You can either call 1-800-273-TALK, or you can text START, which is 741741. So please know you're not alone. Reach out and get help, and please keep the conversation going.